Hi there, I'm Lily. Have you ever had any of these big decorative platters or bowls where you wanted to put flowers in them but didn't know exactly how to go about doing that? Well, one solution is to use a glass flower frog. So these glass flower frogs come in various sizes. They have smaller ones, such as this one. This one is 3 inches wide and it has 11 holes in it. And these holes are actually smaller for smaller stems. And then this is 4.5 inches wide, and the holes on these are bigger, so you could technically put more than one stem in each hole, and which we will be doing in this arrangement today. And so you can find these flower frogs online through either eBay or Etsy, because from what I can tell, I don't believe that they're in production now, so you're not going to be able to run to your local craft store in order to find these. And but locally, you could also try to search for your antique stores because they might have some of them as well. So these are really great for arrangements where you don't really want to be able to see the mechanics, because when it goes in the water, it's kind of reflects the water, and then it's not as easy to see, what's holding all the flowers together. And, especially when you're working with something like a big bowl like this, sometimes you might want to use the green foam, which is fine. You can still try to cover it up, but when you have the water in there and the foam kind of breaks up a little bit, you're going to be seeing little specks of it floating around, which is not the prettiest thing to see. So yeah, I really think that these flower frogs are a great solution to that. And there's also metal ones as well, but my preference is the glass version. Okay, so I'm just going to go, I have a little water in here, so I'm going to go ahead and place this flower frog in. Oh, but one thing I do want to mention is you kind of want to plan out how you plan to stick the stems into this flower frog to create the pattern that you desire. Because my plan is to have these chrysanthemums create a little bit of a cloud from which these other flowers over here are going to be sticking out of. So I have 7 stems of the chrysanthemums, so which works out perfectly for this flower frog because there's there's 13 holes in it, and so there are 6 on the outer rim, and then there's 1 in the center. So that's perfect for the 7 chrysanthemums that I will be using. And so I basically just bought 2 bouquets from the grocery store. So this was 1 bouquet, and then this was the other bouquet. And when I selected the flowers, knowing that I wanted to use this bowl and create some type of a little bit of a base that kind of covers up the mechanics, I selected a flower that had a lot of petals and space around the petals. That way the other stems that I'm planning to put in them can kind of weave in between the petals. And in addition to that, since these were yellow, when I selected the second bouquet, I tried to have a little bit of yellow to kind of play off of the base. Okay, so now we can get started with sticking the flower stems in. Okay, so what I would like to do is not to have the flowers too low in the vase, because I do want to have them a little bit elevated just for interest. So I'm thinking about, 4 inches for this bowl that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut about 4 inches. And as you can see how it's not like all the way down below the base, but kind of maybe mid-level. The bottom petals are at the same level as the vase, which is what I wanted. So I'll just go ahead and do that and add the flowers to the outer rim all the way around. Just cutting to allow for about 4 inches on the stem there. Yeah, and what I love about this is, like I mentioned, there's only 13 holes in this flower frog, so the arrangement will come together really quickly. All right, and now we have our last one in the outer rim, and it looks so beautiful on its own already, but we do have other flowers to play with, so I am going to go ahead and select the flower that I would like to be in the center. So I selected goldenrod just because I like the arrangements that have more of a cone shape at the top. And so this goldenrod will do that for me. And then I love the height already. So, because like I said, I want the flowers to look like they're emitting out from this little cloud. So I am going to go ahead and just stick this in here without even cutting at all. All right. And then, you know, after I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and possibly put the last chrysanthemum in here if there is space or if it's needed to kind of cover up more of the space, but we'll see how that goes first before, you know, we actually decide what we want to do. Okay, and I'm going to use some fern because I like that it's kind of sprayed out, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the center hole as well. So there you go. And then I think I'd like to fill in with flowers that are a little bit, you know, wider. As a whole, these mums are a wider flower, so that's why I want to use them next. The method for cutting the height is I basically try to put it to the bottom of the bowl, and then that kind of lets me know about where it'll end, and then that's where I'll cut it. So I do it on this side since, you know, there's extra space beyond the table, so that allows me to easily do that. I kind of want this one upright, so I'm going to use the fern a little bit to kind of help it because, like I said, the hole is a little bit larger, so I want to be able to, you know, have it upright. So I'm going to use the fern leaves a little bit to kind of help it stay upright instead of flopping around in the hole. And then I'm also big on symmetry, but sometimes it's nicer and creates more visual interest when you put similar flowers together. So that's what I'm going to do with the mums. I'm just going to go ahead and put them together. But instead of putting it on the same side, I'm just going to fill in on this side. So I'm going to turn around so I can just see this for a moment here. All right, perfect. So there you go. That's the stem that I just put in. And then what I'd like to do next, I think visually it'd be nice to have something down here. So I think that this gerbera daisy would be perfect for that. And it does have the sleeve on it, and I'm going to leave it on there just because it helps support the stem, because the stem is actually very, it's a little bit weak. And I'm going to work in some roses. All right, and if there are any thorns, you can just clip them off with your clippers or scissors. And these are pruning shears, which I really like to use because, you know, regardless of whether I'm working with flower stems or branches, they'll cut through both types. So if you're interested in getting a pair of these, I'll have a link down below. Well, actually, that seems a little bit tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the mums over one spot. Okay, there we go. And then you kind of just want to look around to see if there's any spots that seem like it's not as filled in. And so I am thinking that I want to put another rose down in here. And then the last stem is the statice. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it on this side, just because it looks like there's an empty space over here. And I had the statice share the same hole as the rose back here, which is perfect because I actually wanted the rose to stand more upright. And so by having two stems in one hole, that'll do the job. All right, so there's the rose I just put in. And I think I am happy with the way that this turned out. So no need to use the last chrysanthemum. So I hope you enjoyed this arrangement, and I will also have a a flower bouquet, a handheld bouquet to go along with this, just in case this is a design that inspires you and is something that you might want to use for your wedding. So yeah, I hope you like it.